How can a designer become a leader? Let's talk about that. But first, coffee. Hi all, my name is Jose. I'm a Portuguese designer living and working in Ontario, Canada. And in this video I want to share with you what I learned being a design leader, hoping that you find this useful in case you lead a design team, if that's your goal, or even if you're just a designer wondering what that would entail. But first, let's start with a bit of context. I've been designing for almost 14 years, and almost 3 I've been working in leadership roles. First as design lead at TomTom, and now as staff designer at Shopify. Despite the differences in title, my approach to both roles is fairly similar. The only difference is that at Shopify I don't have to worry about performance reviews and all the other HR related things, which just gives me more time to design, and I'll gladly take that. Now, this leadership saga actually started back in 2018, when my manager asked me if I wanted to lead a design team. Almost automatically I said no. At the time, I didn't want to take this new responsibility, especially because my true passion is design, and the thing I love the most is to actually make things. In my head, leading a team by default would mean little time to design and make things, and probably more time managing people and doing a lot of admin work. So no was actually a no-brainer. After all, I didn't become a designer to spend all my days managing designers and letting them having all the fun. After a couple of weeks, she asked me again, and she mentioned why she believed I could do the job, and also gave me the chance of doing it as a trial for 3 months. Since my team would be quite small, I decided to give it a go and see if I could still find time to actually design. The fact that would come with a salary bump also helped changing my mind. Fast forward 3 months, and thanks to the team size, I still managed to find plenty of time to design. And now I actually felt empowered because I could steer the general direction we were going and also hire designers that I believed in. So my conclusion was to keep going. So that's how I got started, and even though I'm still very much a noob at being a leader, during the past couple of years I think I learned a lot. And I wanted to share that with you. Before that, let me know in the comments whether you see yourself taking a leadership role or if you don't think that's the life for you. You'll find out why I'm asking towards the end of the video. But don't fast forward. Back to what I was saying, what do you need to be a leader? The first thing I learned is that you need to have a goal. You need to provide direction to your team. Let them know what they are supposed to achieve and when. Because doing that will give them focus and help people understand where they are heading and what they should be doing to get there. I like to use this analogy. Imagine that you are on a boat with a bunch of people rowing. If they don't know where you're heading, you might end up just going in circles and actually getting nowhere. With a goal, even if it's a bit fuzzy, you'll get people at least rowing in the same direction. Now, if the goal is fuzzy, it's important as you move towards it that you start to make it more clear. So you go from rowing in the same direction to rowing in the right direction. When you define your goal, it's good to be realistic on the short term, but I believe it's good to be visionary on the long run, because people need to know what they should be doing now, but they also need to understand what's the ultimate dream, so they can take that into consideration. And by the way, in my view, as a lead designer, your job isn't just to write down what your team should do and when, you should also try to give them a glimpse of what that can be. And that's where you can put your awesome design skills to use. The second thing I learned is that you need to understand that rushing slows you down. If you read this article that I wrote a while ago, link is in the description, you know that I'm all for moving fast, so I'm not recommending you to slow down. This only means that you should go through the proper process and you don't skip steps unless you really have a valid reason. And the whole fail fast mentality isn't much of a valid reason if you ask me. If you have the means to test something in a small scale and avoid giving your users a hard time, why would you put them through it? What I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't skip things like prototyping and testing because it takes extra time. You need to test and validate your designs as much as possible, and prototyping allows you to do just that. So you don't end up making bad decisions based on wrong assumptions and release a product that will be a pain to use. This also means that you shouldn't be too busy to join things like user tests, because there's nothing like seeing people's frustrations firsthand. In a test, you see more than a number or a username. You see a human being trying to accomplish something that was supposed to be easier, but it's not. This is when you really learn a lot and empathize the most with the people using your product. So don't think you can skip things just because you're the lead. As a good leader, you should lead by example. If you don't consider it a priority, your team might end up following your example. Not just that, to properly steer the boat, you need to have all the insights you can get. My learning number 3 is to dream before it gets real. Even though it's good to be realistic and practical and pragmatic when you're designing a product, I think it's equally important not to forget to dream and encourage your team to do the same. One doesn't become a designer because they want to reuse as much components as possible or because they want to design MVPs for the rest of their lives. That's why I think it's very important to keep that spark that made someone become a designer alive and encourage them to go wild sometimes. That crazy idea that your team came up with may never see the light of day because it's too expensive to build or too dreamy, but maybe, just maybe, it will be the thing that inspires an engineer to build something that can then be a step towards that. And I'm not just saying it. In the time that I've been leading design teams, I've seen this happening more than once. And that allows you to provide a better experience for your user and something more inspiring for the design team to build upon. The other reason why I think it's important to dream is because I really believe that the moment you let all the constraints pull you down, it's the moment you stop innovating. This is actually one of the reasons why car manufacturers invest in designing concept cars. It's not to design a car that can be shipped in a few months. It's to give their design team and the world a glimpse of what the future can be, so they can figure out how they can design something that is a bit more realistic, but at the same time is a stepping stone towards that direction. My learning number 4 is that listening makes you better. I feel like the classic leader stereotype is someone who likes to talk a lot. They are the ones calling all the shots and telling everyone what to do. And that stereotype couldn't be further from myself. And I might be a bit biased on this one, but I would argue that a better kind of leader is one who listens more than they talk. And this doesn't mean that you don't say a word, it just means that you listen carefully. You encourage others to participate and give their 2 cents before you do, because if you build your team properly, you should be surrounded by intelligent individuals that are striving towards the same goal as you. So you can use all that as ammunition to construct your opinion and make the best decisions. If you really listen, whenever you talk, your contribution will be more meaningful and have a bigger impact because it will embody more than just your personal opinion. That said, as a leader, I think it's also vital that you look beyond titles and you don't take someone's opinion just based on their seniority or position in the company. I'm not telling you to ignore the experts. You just have to keep in mind that in the end of the day, you're not designing for them. You're designing for the people that will use your product. So just be mindful of that. And beyond design, listening can also be useful to improve your team motivation and productivity. Talk with your designers and also the people that your team interacts with Ask them what can be better. You'll be surprised with the insights you'll get just by listening to what they have to say. Even if things are running smoothly, there's always points of improvement. You just have to listen. Really listen. My learning number 5 is to make the dream with a team. When you're hiring designers, I believe in hiring people that are better than me at something. If you want a good team, you can't be afraid of hiring someone that might take your job. You should actually only hire that kind of person because they are the ones who will help you move forward. Next to their skills, you should also evaluate if their personality will be a good fit in your team. You need to be able to have a conversation with this person. After all, you're going to work together on a daily basis, so it's always nice if you don't end up hating each other. Once the team is there, I think the best possible design work comes from proper collaboration. And to encourage that, you need to be honest with your team, but also open to receive honest feedback and take action when you do. You might need certain people to execute parts of the designs individually, but the vision and the end result should be taken as the fruit of the whole team. Brainstorming, designing, and iterating should be something that happens as a team. I believe that is the best way to make everyone feel motivated, productive, and equally responsible for the end result. Also, it's the best way to make sure that you get the most out of the different minds that you have on your team by having them bouncing ideas off each other. Last but not least, the size of the team is key. My experience tells me that a small team is always better. The more people you manage, the more communication lines you have, which essentially means that it's more likely that a misunderstanding happens. My learning number 6 is that they need to see it to believe it. I'm a firm believer in showing rather than telling. If you have an idea and there's a way to visualize it, as a designer, your job is to make that happen. Having something to look not only gives people a starting point of discussion, but also gives them a glimpse of what something can become. And as someone that comes from design, even when you're leading a team, I think it's important to keep on designing, because that shows your team you're not just there to boss them around, you're someone who deeply cares about design, and more specifically, you care about making whatever project you're designing into something real and tangible. And this is key not just within the design team. Design is a tool you can leverage to facilitate communication with other stakeholders. Again, showing is better than telling. If you serve as example, hopefully your team will follow, thus making the communication with the other teams more effective. With that said, this point is not just about making a design visible, it's also about taking action and doing rather than just talking about it. For instance, if there's an idea to improve the work process that comes from a team member, if you believe in it, don't linger around to put it into practice. Make it happen. It's easy to resist change and just keep doing what you're used to, but if you never take action when your team gives you feedback, ultimately that will look like you just don't care or listen to what they have to say. And the result of you doing that might be that then they stop caring and listening to what you have to say. So as a leader, your job isn't just to show your team where to go, but also to give them a voice and help them push their ideas forward. My last learning is to build trust, not walls. This is kind of obvious, but I'll say it anyway. You have to trust your designers. Don't try to micromanage people. If you hired someone, you did it for a reason. Let them show you their best side. A team of talented designers won't be more productive or creative if you're sitting behind them tracking their progress, or if you make sure they are clocking in at 9 a.m. Every designer is different. Just trust their process. The only thing you have to do is to give them clear goals to achieve and make sure they get there in the end. If they don't, that shouldn't be the point when you start to micromanage. What I recommend doing is to make them aware of what is expected from them and give them a second chance to get on track. In case they don't, then you have to take stronger action and quickly, or else their behavior and attitude might spread to the rest of your team. The ultimate goal is to have a team that can operate even when you're not around. That can only happen if you trust them when you are there. Trust also goes beyond your design team, and as the lead, you have to make sure your team has the trust from all the different teams they interact with. Don't forget to peek over the fence and try to tear down any walls there might be in place. Whether it's product management, development, marketing, or any other team, your job is to help your team building bridges and to encourage collaboration. Make time, involve them early, and don't wait for them to come to you. Take initiative and push for true collaboration. In my experience, if you do it effectively, you'll not just gain their trust, potentially you'll also get a seat at their table whenever important discussions happen. As a reward for making it this far, I have a tip for you. As a leader, you might find yourself being pulled in a bunch of different directions. In case you're a bit like me and have that maker itch that you need to scratch, try to block time to design. And I mean blocks of uninterrupted time, like 2 or 4 hours. Because if you don't block time, your calendar will get swamped with meetings very easily. I have a bunch more tips to gain more time to design on my previous video, so check that out if you want more. Okay, is there a conclusion? Yes. To lead a team, you have to develop some skills that you don't necessarily practice as a designer. But that doesn't mean you have to sell your soul and do a complete 180. You only need to evolve, especially because there are plenty of skills that you already have as a designer. You only need to adapt them to the new context. In the end of the day, you're still a designer. The only difference is that instead of being a single contributor, now you have people that can help you multiply your impact and your speed. A little caveat, all this that I said is based on my personal experience, specifically things that have given me good results. I don't claim to have it all figured out, there's still a long way for me to go. Regardless of that, I thought it could be interesting to share my learnings up until this point. When it comes to leadership, as with most things, everyone is somewhere in a spectrum, so I would encourage you to look beyond the title and your preconceptions, because different companies will have different expectations for leaders, and you might even be able to shape your role to your ambitions. That's what I did at TomTom, and that's what I'm doing at Shopify. Growth is more than a title. There are many ways you can continue growing and increasing your impact other than just adding into a full-on manager position. Now, if you liked this video and found it useful in any way, please share it with your designer friends or even your managers if you want to give them a hint. I would like to ask you now to revisit the comment you left below and tell me if any of these that I said has changed your mind in any way. Are you now more willing to become a leader? Has this just confirmed what you already knew? Do you disagree with any of my points? Or do you have a question? Or do you have any other thoughts or advice that you could share with me or anyone else watching this video? Please leave your thoughts below in the comments. I would love to know more about you and everyone else watching this video. That's it. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'll try to keep the videos coming. Thanks for watching. This was Half Full. I'll see you on the next one.